Oh baby, Sticks intern's been waiting patiently. All right, here with our man, Sergeant Filthy McNasty, who actually caught in June a UFO,
I did.
and he
What
never
was it?
told anybody. He
I
never
don't know
told
what it
anybody.
I don't know what it was. I don't know what it is. It's so funny. We were just we were bullshitting behind the scenes after my stream with Grady and Doug last week.
Yep,
I'm trying to get Grady back in the streaming side of things. I was like, what do you want to talk about?
it's working.
He's he's like, anything. Let's talk about anything. I was like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
let's reel Grady in with anything. And then he brought up the stuff in New Jersey. I was like, I've got a video for you. I've got a
Oh,
video for you, and we'll talk about that in a second. What it is, I don't know, man. I don't know. For all I know, it's a a dove with its high beams on. I don't know, right? But I will say this much.
yeah.
So maybe before we talk about that, Grady, what the fuck's going on with these Jersey stuff? I mean, what have you been hearing?
So
I'm sort of in the no, in the not sporadically, and I know some stuff, but I'm sure I don't know everything.
well,
What do
so
you know?
there's tons of theories. Nobody fully knows, and I hear some good, credible theories that are totally opposed to one another, and I'm just like, whoa, thrown for a loop. But one of the theories that was being said is, there's a lot of talk, of course, about the Project Bluebeam, which I never heard of it referred to in that
That's
way.
one of
But
them. That's a
yeah,
theory.
yeah. And one of the theories along those lines, like it's a psyop where they want it. I saw it several videos of people saying what they're going to do is try to prevent other people from being able to use their drones. So, and
I've
that's a
seen
step
that.
towards something. And just today, I don't even know if you knew this, but they've already been banning in New York and Jersey the use of personal drones, period.
So
So,
for those of us who don't know this
mhm,
drone stuff, if you've been living under a rock, and I did some digging into this. Apparently, what's been going on is people are seeing drones,
yep,
um, in the skies of New Jersey, and I
yep.
saw this tweet, Grady, and it's a hilarious tweet. It's a guide to drones over New Jersey. Let me see if I can share my screen. Um,
Okay.
Let me see here. It's a good guide. And if you're not sure what is and what isn't a drone, I think this guide will really help you. Let me go ahead and hit share.
Yep. Share it. And what you've been
Uh,
looking at here is Sarge's capture of that UFO orb, baby. I
all right.
love you guys. Okay.
So, 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 so here's the guide. All right. So the official New Jersey guide to aircraft identification. So everything's a drone, as you can see.
Yeah.
All but this Iranian mothership. Right? That's not a drone. That looks
So
like a
that was
propeller
one
plane.
theory, is that there's a
That was
mothership from
another theory.
Iran. And I think that's been mostly debunked.
You know what? When I heard that theory, I thought, okay, that's probably one of the least likely theories. I like to
So,
think for myself it's pretty grounded
right.
for
To the,
many reasons.
yes, for
Is it
many
all
reasons.
drones? I don't. I so what I think is that it's not all drones. I think what people are seeing is it's a light in the sky. It must be a drone. It can't be a plane. There's this. I think people are sort of mismatching, confusing, or wanting to believe one thing or another. Um, I think what I captured was not a plane. I don't know what it was,
Yeah,
and
that's
I'll
not
get to
a
that here in
plane.
a second.
I don't think that,
Um,
that could possibly be a plane. Now, I guess it is possible it could be a drone, but
okay,
I doubt it though. I
so
think
okay, so
so.
Grady,
I've seen thousands on video of these orb, like quote unquote UFOs.
I own a drone and it's here somewhere.
Yeah.
Arms reach somewhere beneath a bunch of stuff. Most drones, my understanding is all drones. FAA requires the a drone to have those red green lights. If you want to
Oh,
have a
really?
conventional sort
Right.
of drone,
Right.
and you need to have that red green light sort of strobe on it. And I am not an aircraft specialist by any means. I don't know what they're for. They're for something. I don't know. But they must have them. And there's a bunch of rules and I stopped flying my drone because at one point they had passed a law that if you lived X amount of distance from an airport, you couldn't
Oh
fly
yeah.
one.
Yep.
And at the time, I lived pretty close to an airport, so it's like I just don't want to mess with it. It was more trouble than it was worth. And for anyone who's seen me play PvP, my drone flying skills are equally capable. I am a terrible drone flyer. 9
Uh-huh.
times out of 10, I would crash it or lose it. So I put it away. But so Grady catches. So I'm outside. I'm talking to my mom on the phone,
Okay.
and I see this white light coming north to south, and I go, oh yeah, that's pretty interesting. My first thought was satellite. I don't know, maybe even plane, helicopter. I mean, you get a bunch of those. I live near an air base, so you just get you see a bunch of conventional and military aircraft from time to time. Pretty neat.
Yeah.
So my
Yeah.
first thought was like, oh, it's got to be a satellite. But Grady,
It's not
it
a
was
satellite.
so it was flying pretty low. And get a load of this. Here's the kicker. Here's what made me like pull out the phone and be like, what the fuck was that? So I see it flying.
Uh-huh.
Grady, I shit you not, bro. It stops above my head.
Really?
It stopped, bro. It stopped above my head.
Wait, how
And
far away? How far away above your head?
not really far away. Probably a bit away tree line. Close enough for me to be able
Tree
to see
line.
the close enough for me to be able to see it was round, and it was not a drone. It did not make a sound. It was just wild. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is,
Okay, so
but I know
tree
what it
line,
wasn't.
you're talking like 20 feet in the air, 30 feet in the air.
50, like 50 feet,
50
like
feet in the
50
air.
feet. I could have.
Okay.
I am also bad at throwing baseballs and rocks, but I could have thrown a rock if I was capable enough to be accurate. I could have thrown a ball at this, and it was probably the size of a basketball. I mean, it wasn't that big.
Really?
Um,
So,
it,
and this is it. And so you saw it before you captured it on video like
so
this.
this is it leaving. This is it leaving
That
after I sort of picked my jaw back up and decided to pull my phone out to be like, this is weird. This is different. I don't know what this is. It's interesting.
that is wild. And
Had
the reason why it has no sound is because Sarge was on the phone.
So I was on the phone. I was talking to my mom. My mom was like, "What's going on?"
The
And
video has no sound. Yeah.
"You won't believe me if I tell you. So let me try and take a video of it."
Yep. And that'll do it. I was even texting my ex-wife yesterday and did a video while it was plugged in with my daughter, and it had no sound. So that just happens when there's like another thing going on. Like we were playing a song in the car, and then we did a video real quick while it was plugged in. No sound. The song was playing. So that happens.
It was
Yeah.
weird. It was different. So these drones in Jersey, these things that have been flying. Kupo, our friend Kupo, I asked him. He lives
Yeah.
in Jersey. I was like, "Have you seen some of these things? Like, what is it?" Yeah, have you seen them? And Kupo's like, "Yeah, I've seen one or two." It's like,
And
"Oh,
you said
okay."
it was brown.
So no, so it was it didn't it
Huh.
wasn't brown. It was spherical, size of a basketball. I don't recall a color. It was right around, sun was setting. I don't remember what color it was without the light on. Because the light turned on after it stopped. It was weird. Like
Right.
it turned on after that. But I do know, so for those people who are like, is it is it a plane? Is it a drone? People who may or may not be aware. Are you familiar with a website called FlightAware, Grady?
No.
Okay, so one of my favorite websites. So because I do live near airports and I have lived near airports,
Yeah.
um, I love FlightAware. So what it is,
Oh,
um,
that's where it shows all the planes that are currently flying.
it shows you all the planes.
Yes.
It tells you what it is, where it's going, where it's coming from.
And it'll show
Uh,
it on a map too.
it will. It is super. It's a super neat tool to sort of play with
Right.
and mess
And
with.
there's an app you can download because I saw several streamers who are out in New Jersey seeing hundreds of drones everywhere. Yeah. And the more you zoom in, you see them actually flying, and they're like, oh, there's the plane. They would show it and then show it on their screen, on the app. Exactly.
Yeah. So, this plane, right? Where is
And
it?
it even
What
tells
is
you
it?
who owns the plane, what the plane is, and
When it,
everything.
yeah, when it's
Private
private
planes and
airplanes,
everything. Mm-hmm.
it does. And my understanding has to do with transponders. So like during conflicts in the Middle East, for example,
Yeah.
you can go on FlightAware, and if the planes have their transponders on, you can sort of track military movements. And the way I've heard it explained is when military jets turn on their transponders in a war zone, it's for a variety of different reasons. But sometimes it's like shock and awe. It's like all these planes up in the air. Probably not a good time to send our planes up. Yeah, shock and awe. Too many planes up there, right? But it'll track planes as long as transponders are on. Here's another plane here too, and you can zoom into
Yeah.
20 plane. This is JetBlue. Tells
Right.
you more information here on the right,
Yep.
and it's super neat. If you live near an airport and you're airplane spotting, like super neat to sort of make use of that tool. But if you are in New Jersey, right, and you see something, it's like, is it a drone or is it a plane? Hey, jump on FlightAware. You might find out it's a conventional plane, private plane. There was
Right.
a drone sighting downtown San Diego. Turned out it was a conventional private plane, and people were flipping out. But we're at that state where people are like, "What is it? It's in the sky. It must be a drone. It must be whatever."
Yeah.
It's just it's one more thing to sort of help you
Right. And
determine
so
what it is and what it isn't.
there's tons of drones that it's been all over the news, and now it's kind of going quiet, which makes me think it's very possibly some sort of psyop that the government does to distract from other things going on. That's one possibility. I've heard a couple pretty solid sources say there's definitely some Chinese drones out and about.
So that's another theory, right?
Yep.
Where are these drones from? Who's
Right.
flying them?
Because the government says we don't know where they come from or what they are, but we know that they're not dangerous, which is an oxymoron there. Like it contradicts itself. So,
Well,
yeah.
I was doing some research before we jumped on as to one of my hobbies is I like myself a good conspiracy theory, a good
Huh?
uh you know ghost stories, paranormal. It's fun to me. It's
Right.
like, to me, all that stuff is fun. Halloween's one of my favorite holidays. But um I don't know if you knew this, Grady. So everyone's talking about these New Jersey drones.
Yeah.
And oh my God, what could they be? So this isn't the first time this happened. So according to what a lot of people are saying, this has happened every year for the last several years. Around November, December, there are these drones that are spotted in the New Jersey area.
Okay.
One of the theories I saw, and this one to me seems probably the most viable. Like, I can sign up for this one. It's like, this one makes sense to me. Um, so I saw someone on TikTok, because, as you know, Grady, TikTok is the sole source of nothing but truth,
Right.
and correct information, because that's where it lives.
That's right.
But so there was this guy. He was chatting about how his understanding of what
Uh-huh.
was going on from a variety of different sources is that NASA's testing drone technology, and there's this pre-approved corridor where they can run their tests, and that pre-approved corridor happens to be around that Langley area, New Jersey area. It's a pretty short corridor where these tests take place, which is why you're seeing these tests happen on a regular basis. And it sort of makes sense to me, right? Like, I don't buy the idea that people don't know what they are, right? Like, how can you say
Yeah.
it's not dangerous if you don't know what it is? I think it's
Right.
bullshit. People who need to know what it is,
Yeah.
and
And
maybe they know it's not dangerous because they're the ones who've approved this, this level of testing, right?
yeah. And there's been several people that flew a drone just to test in a no-fly zone, drone zone, like Area 51 type places. They fly the drone, and within 3 seconds, it's down. Boom.
Like, Yeah, like
So several Air Force people have come out and said there's no way. Trump has come out and said they know what it is. They
they
even know where it
absolutely
goes.
know.
Yeah, they
They
know.
ab- I don't know how people don't know, right?
Right.
The other theory I heard, this one's more far fetched to me, more far fetched than the Iranian mothership, which I think was sort of it's a BS far fetched sort of theory that was brought up so that it would call attention to it is what I think was happening. The other far fetched theory, and I don't know if you heard this one, Grady. Um, these drones are up there because they're looking for nuclear material that went
Yes.
missing. So what are your thoughts on that? I'll give you my thoughts.
So several have come out and said, hey, there's maybe some radiation or lost material from a nuke, and they're looking for that potentially. I think that's maybe been debunked as
I
well.
think I think it's
Okay.
bullshit, and here's why I think it's
Yep.
bullshit. Let's assume that is true. They were
Yep.
looking for this material. Why would you not fly your drones 24/7?
Right.
Why only at night? Because these things, my understanding, unless I'm wrong, is that these things are only spotted at night.
They are spotted during the day, but
Are they?
way more at night. Yeah.
And if you're looking for nuclear material that went missing, you're gonna look for that
Right.
during the
Like even a thermal camera isn't as good.
well,
Yeah.
and and I don't know how factual these things are. The other thing
Mhm.
I saw was that these thermal cameras aren't able to spot them for some
Mhm.
reason.
Right. Right.
The other theory I've heard, and I'm sure you've heard this, it's just a
Yeah.
bunch of hobbyists, people who own
Yeah.
these drones, and and maybe there is a mysterious drone or a UAP or UFO, whatever we want to call them, up in the air. But hey, it's entertaining to put your drone up there too, and call some attention to yourself.
Right. And there's tons of that
I'm
going on.
sure there's some of that.
But a
There's
lot
got to
of
be
these
some.
drones, though, are drones that are super rare, very expensive, the size of an SUV. One of them said the size of a school bus. And we've seen those. I didn't even know they existed. People can actually fly in drones themselves that kind of look like an airplane. We've seen a lot of it. We've also seen a lot of orbs. So I've seen a couple like fairly credible videos of people, like government people, saying and on video where they're coming in and out of the ocean. Now we've seen that for years, but
Okay,
one that had a whole bunch, you see the splash even.
so have you heard of that Tic Tac UFO?
Yeah.
Okay,
The most famous one.
so I have the video.
Okay.
I have it up for those of you who maybe don't know what it is. It's really
Yes.
loud.
This is the
So
one.
it's what intrigues me about it. In some respects, the thing I saw was not flying that fast. But it sort of reminded me of what I saw. This tiny thing, moving about. It made no sound. I didn't see any rotors, or
Right.
it was different.
And they
I don't.
said that that thing's flying at like, what did they say? Like 12,000 miles an hour.
So I watched the video
Yeah.
to sort of learn a bit more. I think Joe Rogan was talking about this
Right.
recently. So there is let me tell you, if I remember, once they lock in.
Yeah.
So 4.4 refers to range. I don't know what 4.4 means. Is it miles? Is it knots? I don't know. But this number here, this if I recall from the explanation, this is in knots. So 200 knots. I don't know what that is in miles.
Miles per hour. I don't either.
I don't know. It's faster than I can run. So most
Yeah.
things are, but that's how I gauge
And
things.
so not only can they go way faster than anything we could even imagine, like we would die if we were in these. That's how fast they go. And on top of that, they can like stop on a dime and move. So, planes flying, if it wants to turn, it has to like turn and its momentum carries. You can't just stop and go the other way like these
I
go.
I think SI nailed that a knot is 1 nautical mile per hour. Spot
Oh,
on, SI. Spot
so
on,
that was
SI.
like 220 miles an hour.
I probably. I don't know. I'm just a dude drinking, sipping, talking to my good pal Grady.
Yeah, I have no
Um,
idea. No, I've definitely heard some of them going several thousands of miles per hour. And I've seen a million of them. You know, they're all over paranormal, caught on camera, and all these different TV shows. And so there's just endless UFO sightings daily, pretty much.
so
And
so
even
one
before all this Jersey stuff.
Okay, so and I think some of the things that other people confuse things for is have you seen the oh my god, Starlink satellites? Have you seen videos of those caught?
What again?
The Starlink satellites when they're flying in formation.
Um, maybe.
I if not, I'll pull up a video. They're super neat. I mean the things that people can do. Let me see if I can find one.
Okay.
I've not seen a Starlink satellite formation, but it looks super cool. Let me see. Starlink satellites in the sky. Here we go.
Okay. Yeah, we've got a lot of
Um,
these caught on camera going into the ocean. Now, there's obviously a lot of fakes. So with AI,
oh, I'm sure there's a bunch
you
of
know,
that.
and so a lot of them, like we've seen UFOs, for example, shooting stuff at each other. It's proven fake. Like
So
so.
check this out. So I'm sharing my screen.
Uh-huh.
And of course it decides to buffer at the most opportune time. Okay,
Yeah,
so
there's
here we go. So these are Starlink satellites. Super cool to
oh,
see. I've never seen one of those in real life, but essentially it's Elon Musk satellites that fly in formation. Pretty cool. So if you ever
interesting.
see that, um that's what you're looking at. Never fear that or an invasion. I don't know, but I tend to believe Elon Musk on this one that these are his satellites. Um
Yeah.
so there's certainly that. The other thing I learned recently, and I don't know which way, so don't quote me on the direction.
Okay.
Um, but my understanding is that um, military satellites will fly east to west or west to east. Conventional satellites will fly north to south or south to north. So it's pretty interesting. So if you see a satellite up in the sky and it's moving, depending on the direction it's moving across in the sky, you can determine whether or not it's a commercial satellite or a military grade satellite. Sort of interesting to sort of I don't know who thought about plotting the direction of what things should fly where. But pretty neat. Pretty neat.
That is cool. So yeah, so if Levi, my buddy, one of my best friends right here in the house, Sarge himself caught this on camera last June out there in
This
San
June.
Diego.
This June, yeah.
Yeah, this past June. And
Yeah.
so, and why didn't you ever show this?
It's not something I talk about. I tend to be pretty private.
Huh.
I don't know. I shared it with family, of course.
Yeah. Like
And
I've seen thousands of these, like I said, but I've never had anybody I've known. I haven't seen them with my eyes. I've seen them on videos
I
all
want to
the
believe
time.
SI. I want to believe. No,
Yeah.
it was, it's funny. So I shared it to my sister, and it's like, of course, your recording of this thing is like the grainiest video I've ever seen. Like every other paranormal video I was like, I know,
Right.
I yeah.
The grainy. Yeah. Most of the paranormal stuff is easily debunked. Like 95% of it, I think, that we see on YouTube and stuff, but some of it might be real. So, yeah, Levi, we haven't even gotten to this yet. So, a lot of these drones on the East Coast, they're avoiding detection for radar. They're weird. They're different.
They're super weird.
Yeah. And some
My
of them like outrun like even fighter jets. So it's like UFOs, drones. It's just a mix of all of it.
I have to go to the path of least resistance to me, and I have to think that they're and I don't know, so I can let my mind wander, but I have to lie on the side of it's military grade technology being tested.
Yeah.
There's a reason you're seeing these things near military bases, right? I live 20 minutes away from a Marine Corps air base. These UFOs are, in the East Coast are being spotted around military bases. My understanding that Tic Tac UFO was spotted off the coast of San Diego
Right.
during fleet training, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Now is it correlation causation? Is it is it that maybe military tech is capable enough to be able to detect these things? I don't know, and maybe that's where they're seeing it. Are they everywhere? Who knows? But I lean to like, hey, it's us testing advanced tech. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So, and this is a good point. So, if our country was to be about to be attacked by another country, this is what it would look like, I think.
Okay,
So,
so go for it, Grader.
well, and I was also going to talk about psyops that happen like crazy with the government colluding with the news. They just
Oh,
repeat it, repeat. They get people distracted. That's totally what this could be. There's a lot
oh,
of that.
absolutely. I saw
Yeah.
this great tweet by so it was Elon Musk a few weeks ago. He was talking about, well, he's on this Doge thing, right, where he wants to cut back on government spending. He was talking about the amount of money that goes into producing an F-35 or an F-22, high tech, state of the art fighter jets. Um, but you look at what's going on in Ukraine right now. What's really sort of swaying things in the battlefield. That it's these $100 drones. The amount of money that's going into R&D for military jets, right?
Yeah.
Astronomical. But what's really making a difference in the battlefield right now, is these the implementation of drone technology. And we're not doing it as a nation, not certainly like China. I'm sure you've seen some of those Chinese videos where,
Yep.
those drones are like at a whole nother level.
Well, and there's weaponry I know that's there where they can like from a satellite just like beam you down and melt you. Like boom, they can cut if they want like a city block and kill the electricity. Boom. There's a lot of
Like an
this
EMP
type of
attack.
weaponry
Oh,
that we
sure.
don't, we haven't seen a whole lot of.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
like people can they can burn you from the inside out from a satellite, just like gamma radiation or something.
I
So
believe it.
yeah,
I
it's
don't know
so
if
much.
that's true, but I believe it. Yeah, it's yes, Scotty, beat me down. That's right. I
Yeah,
just it's just it's wild the things that are out there that we may be unaware of. And to your point earlier about misinformation, it's just I
yeah,
think it's I think it's I that that misinformation or disinformation is so powerful. I mean, it's that alone is a weapon.
yeah. And
Speaking
so
of weapons, my goodness.
speaking of, this was awful. Germany's a mess.
So
They,
what happened there? I saw the video. I have no idea as to what happened, where this was, when this happened.
yeah, yeah,
Dude, that's wild.
yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
I got a lot of down low on this today, and we kind of saw this teeing up. We saw recently like Elon Musk duking it out with some of the Germany government people that everybody's dogging Elon Musk, it's in the liberal media, and he'll just constantly expose. That's exactly what they've done to Trump. So they were accusing him yesterday of interfering with the elections in Germany. Okay. And he was just
Elon?
exposing, yeah, Elon. So he was like exposing a bunch of the stuff that goes on in Germany, like punching right back, exposing, there is the big, huge Christmas parade protest. They like shut it down. And then
That's
this guy, they caught the guy, and he's,
wow, that's crazy.
yeah.
My goodness.
And so it's a mess. And again, it's all over the migration. And so Elon even posted today several like videos of people from the Middle East warning Europe not to let in all these people, like warning them beforehand not to let them in. And they
It,
just,
it's it's such
yeah.
a trip, man.
And this guy was a convicted criminal who got away I want to say maybe Syria or Iran. I don't
Oh
remember.
goodness.
I think it was Syria. He got away. They let him in, and they found out that he was actually a convicted criminal where he was from, and let him off the hook. This very guy that they caught.
God.
Yeah.
Something's got to be said about just criminal justice system in general. This is crazy, though. I
Yeah.
just noticed the guy just drives off, huh? Man.
Yeah, they ended up getting him though. I mean, that is like just crazy. He was driving apparently 60 to 70 miles an hour. And of
Man.
course, the media at first said 80 injured, none dead. And then it just like within minutes, 11 dead. And now it's over a dozen dead. And it's awful.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to know. I mean, I guess SI makes a good point. What was he convicted of? I I am famously known for knowing little to nothing about the law. It just it's interesting, right? I don't know what the crime was, but I mean, awful nonetheless. Like, fuck,
Yeah. Yeah.
bro.
Yeah,
So
I don't know the technology at all. I've just heard for years, Levi, that they have that where they can just like kill people like somehow from satellites, just zap them dead instantly where they melt like on the inside out. I don't know.
let's go back to my graphic, Grady. This is
Okay.
important. I don't know if Levi saw this.
This one.
This is crucial. No, not that one. This one here. It's a New Jersey guide for dummies as to
Oh,
what
yeah.
is and what isn't a drone.
Right.
Yeah, everything's a drone, Levi. Everything's a drone.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
So
a lot of the things that were spotted turned out being airplanes, helicopters, etc. But
so
that's all wrong. That's the point.
the other theory I heard, Grady. I know we were talking about this briefly too. This Project Bluebeam thing. I think
Yes.
that
Mhm.
I like myself a good conspiracy theory, but that one's a bit far fetched. I don't know where you land on that. Do you wanna
Well,
do
so
you know what
Ronald
it is? Do you
Reagan,
wanna share
this
with
goes
people?
back to like 1940s. The Project Bluebeam, Ronald Reagan said multiple times, it was kind of weird because he kept repeating it at multiple different times. He said one thing that would bring unity to the whole world instead of all this wars and fighting would be if aliens attacked us, then we would all be united as a
As a
world.
one.
And he kept repeating that. Just imagine if we were all attacked, in his presidential type of way. If we are all attacked, it would bring us all together. And he kept saying it. Well, and so the Project Bluebeam is, hey, one world government. They create a fake psyop of fake aliens attacking the planet. War breaks out. We all unite behind it. And then with fear, we're a lot more likely to give up our rights. Right. So that's the point. And so, like we saw even with COVID, they were shaming you for not wearing masks, shaming you for not getting vaccines, shaming you for going outside, even going to the beach, that you couldn't go to church. They manned all these mandatory lockdowns,
So
basically forcing vaccines. And now all this information's coming out. Like, did you see a whole lot of info's coming out on the vaccines that you're more likely to get COVID if you got the vaccine?
we'll get to COVID in a minute. Let's go back to
Yeah.
Project Bluebeam
Back
real
to
quick.
Project Bluebeam.
So I did some digging into it too, right? And it's the idea. You're spot on. The idea of like a fake alien invasion, sort of ultimate unification of the
Right.
world, and I might be on board with that. The problem with that for me, Grady, is that somewhere along the way you're relying on a very efficient government to be able to coordinate such a thing. And because of things like COVID, right, where you
Right.
saw very inefficient government
Yep.
trying to sort of get things together,
Yep.
I don't know that we could pull something like that off. Hey, we can't unify cities, let alone the country. I don't know how you
Right. Without
unify the
that
world.
fear. So that fear comes in, and and you can't. They shamed you so hard you could not disagree. Like, people would beat people up on the streets for not wearing a mask or not, following the rules. So we saw a lot of that. Now it's coming out. Yep, it came out of a lab in Wuhan, China. And
is that confirmed though?
Yes, it's confirmed. And
I've
so
heard
much
some of
shit has
that
been
too.
coming out here lately. So they've even they put in a certain protein to where humans can get it. So it was 100% man-made. Proteins put in where humans can get it. They profited hundreds of billions of dollars from the vaccines. No accountability. They rushed it. No, not the proper testing. They said it's safe. It's safe. It's safe. Lots of problems. I have a friend, and at the time was a good friend, who died of blood clotting from the vaccine. And there's lots of examples of that. And so, and then I've got a video, and this isn't really very tinfoil hat in my book, but that they planned it. They planned the outbreak. So, and that might actually come out in Congress, in court. More and more stuff's coming out. That's why Biden is wanting to pardon Fauci.
I'm a never say never guy, Grady.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see information to that regard. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm of the point where it's like, hey, all right, I will you gotta show it to me and I'll believe it. I don't it's one of those things where I want to see more information. I've heard the Wuhan stuff. I don't know how true or untrue that is. I think part of it, right? It's all been sort of muddled and
right.
It's been politicized. Like I don't know how
It's
you
so
politicize.
politicized.
I
But see,
don't
that's
know
the
how you do
point. That's
that.
the purpose of a psyop. So you don't know what to trust. You don't know who to listen to. Even if it's just full blown factual in Congress, people still believe lies in the media. And I see it all the time, every day. We see what the media does. It's psyops happening left, right, and center. That's actually purposeful and intentional, just to make chaos in the news.
I have a lot to say on COVID, but
Yeah.
for a variety of reasons, I won't speak on COVID.
Okay.
but there's a lot there, and I agree with you. I
Okay.
think there should be more. I think with anything, I think we should all be more critical, critical thinkers when it comes to anything we do. Whether you think, one way or another, I think the thing I learned out of all that was, don't take things as gospel. Do your
Yes.
own research.
So you can't ever 100% be sure of anything. We know that much.
And the right thing for you might be the wrong thing for me, and vice versa. I mean, if you live in the middle of nowhere, out in the country, like did you need to abide by the same rules people in the suburbs or urban areas were needing to abide by? I don't know. I'm only a pretend you know oh, there's a name. There's an infectious disease professional. Like I am a
Mhm.
professional crypto person and a professional lawyer. I don't know what I don't know, but to each their own. I'm sort of land on that side of things.
Yeah.
You got to do your own due diligence.
Right. One last thing I'll just say.
Epidemiologist,
Yeah.
SI. If I didn't have a master's in public health, I'd be embarrassed if I couldn't remember the word epidemiologist. So I'll leave that at that. Anyhow, go for it, Grady.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, Levi's agreeing here. Doug Hype's in the house. Doug, this is Sarge's capture of the UFO right here. Okay. So the biggest thing that stood out to me about COVID is, first of all, is just how ridiculous humanity is hopeless. I'm going to change the name of my YouTube channel and Twitter to quote, humanity is hopeless.
Talk to me about that,
talk
man.
about
What do you mean?
Bill in a second. This bill that our freaking politicians just tried to squeeze through with less than 24 hours, 1,500 pages. We'll talk about that in a second. But First of all, it was not a pandemic. A pandemic, you need at least 10%. Like, I should have pulled up the definition of a pandemic. It's probably changed. Like with the Spanish flu, 30% of everybody that got that flu died. That's a pandemic. I think it's got to be at least 5 or 10%. If you get it, you're dead. That's a pandemic. Not
fun.
Yeah.
Fun fact on the Spanish flu: it was actually I believe it actually originated in Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Which is ironic, but it's the Spanish flu. Carry on.
Yes. And so, like, the way, just imagine if there's a real pandemic that comes. That's what the people acted so absolutely out of their brain, out of their mind, insane lunatics. The way people behaved during that caused me to fully lose hope in humanity 100%. It was just like, we're just so far gone. We've lost our mind. The way people responded to things, it's like, goodness gracious. We had like, it was very low percentage of death. They milked the numbers. They milked the numbers where, like, basically people who are already not healthy, yes, it would kill a lot of those people. Like, but people were getting in a car wreck and dying from the car wreck, and then they had COVID, and they counted that as a COVID death in the numbers, stuff like that. They were just doing countless crazy psyops. And so let me just tell you this, boys and girls, if you watch the news at this point, from all that we've been through over the last decade plus, if you still believe anything out of any news, you're delusional.
Including me. Don't believe anything I say.
Zero. Do not watch the news. It's so corrupt. I even found out today.
Everyone's got an agenda.
People even own Sky News. I thought Sky News was some little independent news organization. Nope. Even the same. And that's more of a conservative. It's kind of like a Fox News. Sky News.
Here's my perspective on news. And I don't know. I feel like you talk about like, oh, don't, everything's politicized. You talk about fake news and it's like, oh, fake news or don't believe the news. Oh, you're full of it. I think about it from the perspective of history, right? I have a degree in history, and you think of history in general. The history that's written is the history you want to have been told by the winners of wars, right? Or battles, or go back. Is the same. Are we painting the American independence the same way as maybe the Brits would paint the American independence in their history books? We're probably like an appendix for them, right? It's like, oh yeah, and this happened. But it's sort of it's who we are, right? And I think
we're just as freaking communist, and we don't even know it. Like the Communist Manifesto is playing itself out perfectly.
We're all in ist, or
the Constitution
in one way or another.
Is done. Like, we are past hope. There is we are beyond. So Doug Hype was on last week, and he's more optimistic, which you probably are better off listening to him, right? Who's in the house.
Listen to Doug. Yes, absolutely.
Like, but I'm just like, this is beyond repair. Look at what our politicians are doing. They cannot, even if they tried their damnedest to say one just authentic thing that's purely genuine, they can't. They're so engineered in their brain to put on their fake BS. If you ever think that any of these politicians, right, are presidential, they're statesmen, you're delusional. All of these guys are absolute shady bastards.
All politicians do suck. Grady, I came very unprepared to this stream. I only brought one drink. At some point, I'm gonna have to step out to go get another one. Because if you want Spicy Filthy McNasty to come out, he needs more than one drink. I'm very curious, Grady. I want to hear your wildest COVID story. Like what, like something that happened during COVID where like Grady of 6 years ago, if he knew that happened to Grady, he'd be like, no fucking way.
I kept working out secretly. So we had a gym, CrossFit gym, that like we had to drive around back and park out back. And They had to look like they're closed in the front. We just kept going, which also has proven to be the best way to fight COVID, to stay healthier.
In general. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So they were shutting down all the gyms, all of that. So my best story, I just like,
what's the
stayed way
wildest
low-key.
thing that happened to Grady?
I stayed home. And see, we kind of live in small town Jackson, Missouri. There's not a lot of the people here where it was like we kept working. We didn't even close our office. We just kept going. Now, and some of the people in my office got COVID. My girlfriend at the time got COVID. I guess I'm asymptomatic, was my takeaway. Here's a crazy story. You want to hear a crazy story?
I want to hear it.
Levi knows this. One time, okay, baby. Yeah.
Doug, hi,
hey, I'm going to one up Doug right here.
Let's hear
I
it.
went to Colombia, South America.
Yeah.
Okay. And had some stuff going on out there. And they, without explanation, after I landed, got in, we were like going through customs. They didn't speak English and they just confronted me and they weren't clear on what was going on. I thought I had all my dots and my T's crossed.
Not Grady. Nope.
I didn't get a vaccine, but in the paperwork, it said that there was an exception where I didn't have to get the vaccine. Well, so they did. I'm checking in. He's like, "Where's your vaccine card?" I didn't have the vaccine card. I had the paperwork, and it's like security guards came and escorted me out, and I was about to lose my shit. I almost did, and escorted me right back on a plane and sent me right back home with no explanation. No explanation.
Did they at least buy you a goddamn ticket back?
No. Yeah. I mean,
they did.
There was no option. There was no ticketing. They just escorted me all the way to a plane and sat my ass in the seat and flew my ass home. Just in, out.
All right, Grady. I need to ask you. One thing I learned during COVID was that you can never have enough fucking toilet paper. Was that a thing in Jackson, Mississippi?
So wait, what?
You could never have enough toilet paper. Like toilet paper was fuck Bitcoin. Toilet paper was the thing, Grady. Like of all the things, I don't know why we as a society picked toilet paper to be the thing we needed to hoard, but we picked a horse and that was the one.
Yes. Yeah, that's when the misfits. That's right, Levi. There was like 2 times. By the way, Levi, I'm still sick. I feel like I was about to go throw up about 10 minutes ago. I felt like that. But
I have that effect on people, Grady.
Yes.
That made you nervous. I've
been sick for like, I don't even know.
Have you?
A week or 2. And so Levi saying we were going out all the time. Okay, but then COVID had a second wave. Remember? COVID kind of like they started opening things back up, and then it just came again, and they shut us down again.
I remember that, yeah.
And the first time around, yeah, and we were still going to the office. We never closed down.
I took the time to get a load of this, Grady. I took the time to climb the tallest peak in Texas. Mind you, it's probably like the smallest mountain in the world. But I was very proud to say I climbed the tallest peak somewhere. And I picked the flatlands of Texas to find myself the smallest mountain I could find. But I didn't. I checked that box off my bucket list, man. It was incredible. It was great. Awesome.
It's crazy. I love you, Sarge. So, Sarge, we've been kind of talking about doing this every week where we just talk on things. There's a lot more things we could talk on. Like this bill. They tried to pass 1,600 page bill that included just mind-blowing, stupid spending, billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars of spending, where they give themselves raises, which how do all these politicians, they come in, first of all, they make 170 grand a year, and then they come out like what is what's her name worth out there in California? Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi, yeah,
Like,
she's worth a lot of money.
she's
I
worth
heard.
$500 million.
Oh my God, yes. I do want to get to this Hawk Tua story afterwards. I love that SIP. Yes, let's not deviate. I wanna give you stream of consciousness.
Hawk Tua, let's go.
Hawk Tua now. Okay, let's go. So, is she is she guilty of being nefarious and being the mastermind of this crazy?
We talked about this last week of the
We
crypto.
did, but I think we talked after we ended the stream. As always, I lose track of when we talked about stuff live and when we didn't, or was it during stream? Regardless, I mean, what are your 2 cents on it? I think she's
So
still
she
sleeping.
got
last I heard.
arrested right over this last week. She got arrested. By the way,
Did
little
she?
Neggy, this right here, Sarge, who's on screen, took this video that you're watching.
I did, and I must say my anal was not probed. So, bam.
And this thing was 50 feet up in the air. He said it was brown. And
I don't know what color it was, and I say 50 feet in the air, but I left my measuring tape in the garage.
Right.
It wasn't that high up. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it was like really close. You could see it, and then it was this orb. Again, these orbs are spotted like it's a dime a dozen. I see them all the time on all kinds of videos, UFOs, orbs, all the time. So, and
it was so fun.
I don't know
to
why
see.
they're not
cool
telling us what the hell's going on with this. So Hawk Tua,
let's hear.
So I think like this is what most crypto projects even do now. Like, so she was giving the tokens to a bunch of other creators to help promote it and whatever. And apparently it was those creators dumping it down to oblivion. It wasn't her, but she still got arrested. She still got arrested, didn't she?
Did she though? I don't think she did. I just saw that she released a statement, I think today.
Mm-hmm.
There's a class action lawsuit. I mean, what do you think of the lawsuit, first of all? I mean, do you think people have recourse there? You bought into a meme token, it went to zero, like most meme coins do. Not all.
Yep.
But a lot of them do. I mean, what do you think of those?
What was their statement? What was their statement? I just saw it like in a quick post somewhere. I thought I saw that she got arrested.
So what Rolling Stone's Grady is reporting here. Let me put this up on screen. Okay. Rolling Stone is reporting. There you go. Viral star turned influencer says she's cooperating with a law firm going after crypto partners. I mean, what do you what do you think of that? She's trying to play nice and make maybe good by those who lost money.
Yeah,
she wasn't the puppeteer. I think that's very much clear. She wasn't pulling the strings, not because I mean, I'll be honest, I don't think she's capable of pulling strings, but that's not a knock on her. I'm not capable on pulling strings on something like that either. So, I mean, it's such an interesting space.
Yeah, it's hard to trust anything. You might be missing out on life-changing wealth, but most of these end up dumping to oblivion, man. It's like and then there are those that pump to the moon, and that's what we all want to find, the ones that'll pump. I mean, my checklist was, I had a checklist: find the good team, the people that are have a long-term vision, conviction. They're not money driven. They get the golden rule, like they get it. They look out for the long-term best interests of all parties involved. They're thinking long term. They're not money driven. They care about the reputation, and they build awesome projects, technology and innovation with blockchain, this, that, and the other. And I've come to a place where there's not really any that I have strong conviction in like I did in the past. So I've lost my conviction. And this is like, we just see this happen all the time where crypto projects just get dumped to basically zero.
Well,
Right?
this was an interesting one because I think it's one of those things where many of us who are in this space and know the space, you hear a meme token and you're like, okay, chances are, if it's a meme token, it's gonna go to zero. But she was popular enough,
Right?
and it mainstream enough where people, I don't know, maybe they weren't around during Doge or, some of these other, the last meme cycle, last time Bitcoin pumped.
Right?
Hawk Tua was at first, or a reintroduction to meme token space, crypto space as a whole. And maybe it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where it's this narrative that people want to drive. Crypto bad, exhibit A, Hawk Tua token goes to zero, rug pull.
Yeah. And so my gut actually kind of tells me, because she's not that stupid to just do a scam. She's the third largest podcaster, like in the United States or even the world. Okay. So she probably just had the wrong team, and she's like taking the fall because the wrong team launched the token. That's what Doug's saying here. That's what my gut says.
Well, being famous and being well known, being well liked is not an excuse to, or it doesn't,
Right.
It doesn't excuse you from being ignorant and dumb. I think last I checked, the third least watched streamer in all of YouTube, and I am ignorant and dumb myself. I'm putting that out there. But I mean, I don't think it has anything with her.
Right.
My understanding or my interpretation of it all is she trusted the wrong people.
Right. Exactly. And that's what Doug is saying. And Doug knows her. Doug met her.
That's right. CoffeeZilla. That was
yeah.
It was interesting to see some of that.
I mean, no idea what's going on. Like, she's just oblivious, doing 50 things, all, whatever. And then this just happened. And she had the wrong people in her corner that took advantage of her. Welcome to planet Earth. Humanity is effing hopeless, boys and girls. Never trust anybody.
I'm gonna be a devil's advocate here, and I would say trust everyone. Okay, maybe don't do your own research, but let's not be so hopeless. They have ties to other celebrities. I've heard. I don't want to say names because I don't want to implicate others because I don't know how these things work. Remember, I said I'm not a lawyer. I only pretend to be one sometimes.
Hey,
but
Sticks is a lawyer.
Sticks is a lawyer, but I don't have legal counsel here next to me. And if he were here next to me, he'd probably say, "Shut the fuck up! Don't say things about people without knowing things."
Right.
If it's hearsay, it's probably not good to say. I don't know. I don't know how these things.
So one of my biggest pet peeves on Earth, Sarge, is we've got an epidemic. This is a true epidemic on planet Earth of mankind, humankind. And it's people saying things when they don't have an effing clue what they're saying. They didn't do their due diligence. They didn't do their research. They didn't cross-check. Okay, it's one thing to say, I think maybe this happened, and they're speculating, and that's clear. They're just thinking, or they got a gut feeling of this happened or that. But there are so many people that'll watch a video and they take it to the bank as fact, or they'll whatever. And instead of and always verify. Even after you verified 100 times, you keep verifying because maybe you're deceived. Maybe someone duped you. And so that's always like, it just blows me away how people of all things will actually watch the news and take it as fact, let alone, I mean, to me, it's just insane. Humanity is hopeless.
You got to take everything with a grain of salt.
Yep.
Oh, breaking news. Doug Hype TV was behind the... No, we're here. We're bullshitting. I've always been transparent. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just... I'm shooting the shit here with Grady today.
Yep.
Someone on the internet said it, so it has to be true.
That's right. I mean, and you guys, Sticks intern is a lawyer. Take it to the bank, baby.
Take it to the bank. That's right. Doug Hype did invent the. You know what Doug Hype didn't do, Grady? I saw a picture of Doug Hype in a jet, and he did not have the common courtesy to invite me, to tell me, to say, "Hey, Sarge, are you interested? Are you available? What are you doing on X and X time or day?" I mean, I was appalled. I thought we were buds, Doug. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Doug. Man.
How could you?
Man.
You too,
So
Doug.
this bill that they tried to
what's
pass.
up with this bill? What do you, so
and
tell me
now,
about it.
of course, here's how they spin it. Oh my gosh, Elon Musk. This is a big problem. It's President Musk now. All these wild, sensational things. And it just shows you how evil these people are. These people making hundreds of millions of dollars, like literally hundreds of millions of dollars. They, for example, taxpayer money bought all the material to build the wall, the southern wall down there, that Congress passed it. We buy the material. Now, Biden changes his mind, says, hey, even though it's still approved to be built, doesn't want to build it, and is now, right before Trump's coming in, sells it at over a 99% discount. Okay. To guess who? A private company that he was in bed with, just got all this crazy, like hundreds of thousands of tons of steel at a 99 point something percent discount, just so that the American taxpayers can then rebuy it again all over again. We've already bought it, and now we've got to rebuy it again.
So who pulled that off?
Right. And so
who was it?
The conglomerates that are in bed with these politicians. They broker these deals. They get paid in indirect ways. Hillary Clinton goes to speak and gets $600,000 for one time to go speak somewhere. Things like that. These people make a fortune, and then they say they need a raise. They have been working on this bill for 85 days. 85 days. Then they thrust it out there with less than 24 hours. It had to be voted on. 1,600 pages. It was like this tall, and filled with all kinds of just crazy shit all throughout the bill. It's so corrupt the way they function. First of all, every single bill, in my opinion, or most bills, need to be written where any Joe Blow American, your average American, can read and understand and outline the bill in less than an hour. Simple, single focused bills. And it had all this crazy shit in the bill. And then here's what they say. Oh, this was going to help people from the hurricane. Like, they still haven't dealt with that. Okay. Instead of just passing a bill to help give aid to people who got, damaged and hurt by the hurricane, they won't do that. They want to throw it into a 1,600 page bill and then have the audacity to come out and slam Elon Musk for, calling them out. Essentially, Elon called their asses out of how insanely we are beyond saving. Our politics are beyond saving. It's all like, we are absolutely fucking hopeless. Humanity is hopeless. Like, they are so, and this is both Democrats and Republicans. Both.
So in that aspect, when it comes to politics, yes, we are hopeless. I'm going to be an equal opportunist, Grady. I'm going to say, Joe Blow, sure. What about Hawk Tua? The average Hawk Tua out there needs to be able to read it. People don't read, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how these politicians make the time to be able to read a 6,000 page or a 1,600 page, however many pages any document is, on a moment's notice before. I was working today, Grady. The last thing I want to do is read a 10-page anything a few days before Christmas, and you're expecting I guess you're expecting a politician to do their due diligence and read through all these things on a moment's notice, I suppose. And and I don't know. A chat GPT it. But I I don't know. Just that I agree with you, Grady. Politicians in general,
Yeah,
regardless of affiliation, I just they're not my cup of tea. I don't like them.
right, right.
Ha-
Yeah, they have
what is it?
staff
What is it?
that
Hell in
read
a
it and
handbasket? Is
summarize it.
that the
So
right?
right, just read it and look how freaking insane this shit is. It's like absolutely. So my thoughts were exactly what Elon Musk's thoughts were. Anyone who passes this shit should be fired immediately. Amen to that. And so he says that, and then we have all plastered all over the liberal news. I can't even watch it at all anymore without
I,
wanting to just
I
okay.
don't watch the news either, except UFOs and the
Yes.
stuff in New Jersey.
Yes.
But no, but,
Yeah,
but
you just fall right into that psyop. Just focus on the UFO. Like ignorance is bliss. Just put your head in the sand, baby. Yeah.
oh my God, Grady, I need to go get a beer. Give me a
Go
second.
get the beer. I mean, I'll go on a rant for 20 minutes. You got plenty of time to go get a beer.
I'll come back to you, Grady. Don't go too far off the cliff. Give me a
Okay.
minute.
All right.
I'll be
All
back.
right. All right. We're already going to be to the point where the world is ending by the time he gets back. Okay. Yeah. The psyop. I mean, right? Just put your head in the sand. Ignorance is bliss, baby. Worry about all these drones and UFOs flying around so Congress can pass this piece of shit bill spending hundreds of billions with the freaking B in one 3-month long bill that lasts like for 3 months, written in stone. Give like opening all these new government positions where people make 250,000 salaries and they don't even have to go into the office. Like they don't even have to work and it's locked in. And if they get fired, they get paid for 5 years, even if it gets shut down. Like stuff that is ironclad, all the garbage in the bill. And it all is padding their own pockets, their own constituents. We are absolutely freaking this is like beyond saving. The state of our government, the state of this stuff is just, and so that's what I did. I had to do that first of all because I got canceled. Okay. I used to be a hardcore political guy until I got canceled as a racist. All right. Now we're on to racism.
Wow, I walked into that one. What
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah. We already talked about how the world is over. And so, and you know what? There was a lot more peace in my life, and I just put my head in the sand. And ignorance is bliss, baby. I can
Local
tell you that,
legend.
baby.
Bigfoot.
Look at that. I'm
Look at that.
jealous.
It's pretty good. It's a hard cider.
Oops. Yeah. It's a hard
UFO.
cider.
Hard
So
cider. It's good.
I mean, I need to go get my. You need to go on a rant now, so I can go get my Morgan, Captain Morgan.
I'll go get a Captain Morgan.
Okay, then. Fine. I'll be right back. Go.
Uh-oh. Sergeant, as a brown person, how do you feel being on a show with a racist? Oh no, I don't know. Is great a racist? I miss whatever he said. I don't think he's a racist. What I will say is I used to live right where I lived next to someone who some people might consider a racist, right? And my personal opinion, I don't know, I'm wired different. I try and be nice to everyone regardless of what they believe in, or maybe we disagree on things. My personal opinion is that with everyone there's common ground. And with this particular neighbor, and I say racist and asterisk. I don't know, right? He had a Confederate flag on his back of his truck, and whether or not that makes him something or not, that I don't know. Point is, I treated him like a person, and we treated like each other as people, and we were pretty friendly towards each other. And at one point, he took the sticker off his car. What happened between when I met him and when he passed, I don't know. But once we got to know each other, we were pretty down to earth. I guess I'm built different. I don't know. I think we're all built a bit different, Grady. I
Yeah.
and
I
I think I think I was sharing earlier that the the isms of the world. They're all subjective, and they're they're gray lines.
Look, if you think there's middle ground in this world with the politics of America, you're delusional.
If I sit
We are
around,
hopeless.
I'm of, you know, if I sit around and think hard enough, I could sit here and hate just about everyone for
Yes.
X reason.
Right.
I choose not to spend my time hating on people and trying to find ways where we can sort of meet and find some common ground and build on that. But again, I'm built different. I don't see, you know, I can understand how that's not for everyone. And I've met some pretty disgusting people in the world where I'm like, bro, like like no, like that you've crossed lines, but I'm not gonna go there because it's, you know, I can't go there. Um, but you just, for me, it's like, hey, you think I'm XYZ? Let me show you how I'm not. Let me show you how I'm an awesome person. And if at the end of the day you still think I'm XYZ, well then too bad on you. I'm not gonna waste my time with you.
I love you, Sarge. Where have you been all of my life? Sergeant Filthy McNasty.
I don't know,
Hey,
man. I don't know. You know, I think back. I was actually thinking the other day, like, how the fuck did I find myself on a YouTube channel? Like, I would have never.
you're really gifted at it, by the way.
Okay, Grady, let's be honest. You tell that to everyone. Like,
Yeah, because
come on
you
now.
are. And everybody would agree. You've got
I'm
a gift
a
for it, baby.
I'm a cool guy. No, I never thought myself want to be behind the screen. I was actually talking to someone not long ago, a mutual acquaintance of ours. I was at a point where I was like, you know, I'm gonna throw in the towel and just quit on the whole YouTube stuff.
Really?
I didn't, you know, it becomes taxing. I think
It does.
no matter the size of your audience, like you're putting
Right?
work and effort. It just even sitting behind the, you know, the screen, you know, there's work that goes into 20 stream before and after, and sort of, you know, continuing if you want to do that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a
I
lot of work, and it has to be a calling or a vision and a calling that drives you to do it. So I don't function any other way. It's not about trying to make money. It has to be fully conviction driven. And then that's how you build a business successfully. If you want to be successful long term, you do it the right way. It took me 5 years to make any money really in the insurance with my insurance company that I started. And then like a freight train, I had built up such a good reputation treating people with the golden rule, the way I want to be treated, going the extra mile, being the best, being awesome, the best, you know, insight into the insurance industry with the best rates, the best coverage. If I couldn't offer them the best rates, I knew exactly where they could go to get the best rates. Everybody knew that. And I didn't even try and sell it to them if it wasn't the best. It was always that way. And I built up such a good reputation and then made millions.
oh,
And then lost it all, baby.
you got to post this next comment by SI. Pastor Grady back at it, preaching the golden rule. Peak vibes
peak
indeed.
vibes. That's it. I mean, that's the only way and it's so driven into my soul. I don't function any other way.
Yeah,
Like,
it's interesting though, right? Because I think you know, it's gonna sound like a no shit like when I say it, but you know, different things drive different people. You know, for you it's
right?
that golden rule. For me, it's the, hey, you know what, we gotta find something we can agree on and let's build on that. You know, very
I love it.
very Jimmy Carter with me, I suppose. But it's, you know, it's just the world's a fucked up place, like you're saying, right? It's
So
a
when I
fucked up
say
place.
humanity is hopeless, here, let me give you what I'm saying is, someone, for the love of God, prove me wrong that humanity is actually not hopeless. You see? So that's really what I want. So I'm wanting
define
someone
that.
tell me
Elaborate
that
on that.
humanity is not hopeless. Well, there is a glimmer of hope in my mind.
There are glimmers everywhere you
Glimmers.
look.
It's probably beyond saving, but there are some like mercy that has been come. Whether or not you like Elon Musk, I don't care what you have to say about him. He brought freedom of speech back. With X, we're not getting censored and blocked like I did in all my platforms.
Okay, so going back to something or alluding to something, I think
Mhm.
as I was saying, right? I'm all for freedom of speech. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. But I think a common misconception people have is that freedom of speech comes with comes with
Uh-huh.
freedom of consequences, and it doesn't. You have the freedom to say something, and if if we're out on the street and you call me whatever you call me, and I disagree with it, I have the freedom to provide a consequence of my choosing. Now, let's not get extreme and
Right.
elaborate.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
That
you're going to be
consequence could be
scrutinized. You're going to be sure.
that consequence could be, you know what, Grady, I disagree with you. I'm not talking to you anymore. Or it could be, let's throw down, and I've seen you at karate combat, and I know I'm going to lose, but I've got my pride and my ego to protect. Whatever that consequence looks like.
Mhm.
But it goes both ways. I mean,
Yeah.
anyway, so you say humanity's hopeless.
Uh-huh.
Expand on what do you mean by humanity, and what
For
do you
the
mean by
love of
hopeless?
God, somebody prove me wrong. That's what I
Elaborate
want.
on that, though. I mean, what do you mean?
So it's like I can't trust anybody. I really will never trust another human being for the rest of my life. Not fully. I never will. I trust Kong. I trust you a lot. I trust Sticks intern, a lot of these guys a lot, but I'll never fully trust anybody ever. It's
Let
like,
me.
so everybody seeks their own. They don't follow the golden rule, like at the base of it. And so, like, we have regressed, I think, a lot as humanity is regressing to freaking Darwinianism. Like the lions in the African jungle, it's like kill or be killed, eat or be eaten. That's how people behave. That's how people behave. And it's like, I don't know why I used to be so optimistic and then just got played, taken advantage of so many times. It's insane.
I will say before we get there, or before we
Okay.
continue that, uh so this is an interesting one. I touche on SI.
And Levi.
Consequence,
Mhm.
a consequence of free speech could be you can't post on my messaging platform because the we or the I disagree with you. I mean, what do you think of that? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, that's what they've
the
done.
I know the conversation goes into censorship, but
Well, and
he
so
brings up
now,
an interesting point.
well, right. And that's how they've all been until now. We've got Elon where we can. It's literally the only one.
I'm
It's
gonna play devil's advocate
okay.
and say agree to disagree here, but I'm playing devil's advocate. No, Grady, the old Twitter platform was the same thing. You had the ability to say what you wanted on Twitter, but there were a subset of people who maybe disagreed with you who
Until they
could
blocked you or canceled
but
your
but
account.
but they let you say what you wanted to say. I mean,
No,
freedom of
not when they
speech.
block you. Like they canceled Donald Trump's account.
Uh,
They actually like
they
he
did.
couldn't use X anymore. And that's what they all were doing. Facebook,
But where do you
TikTok,
draw the line though? Just
YouTube.
hypothetically, where do you draw the line on something like that, right? Like, what if
You
what
let
if
people, so like now Facebook consists of 48% Republican or 47% Republicans, 48% Democrats. Democrats can say whatever bullshit they want to say. Republicans can say whatever bullshit they want to say, and no one's going to come and censor or block you.
so
Like,
I don't
yeah,
know.
you'll get criticized.
So
Sure,
so
you got to deal with that.
I don't know, maybe I'm playing this wrong, but
Okay.
hypothetically, let's say Grady decides that for whatever reason, Sergeant Filthy McNasty's garbage, and he makes it his full-time job to shit post on Sergeant Filthy
Yeah.
McNasty.
Lying, 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 lying.
But
Sure.
but
So
but
we
it but is that
practically, uh-huh.
is that not too much? Like, are you taking the freedom of speech there a bit too far to say, yeah, I can say what I want to say,
Totally. And that's what we
but now
already have
you've
happening. So I've seen people get attacked like that, like bots, and like where people are just getting slandered continuously
slander
on the
gun.
news. And then people watch it and actually believe it.
I think the whole bot thing's totally interesting because
But not, I mean, we've had, so let me tell you this. When Donald Trump ran in like the end of 2015, when he announced, or beginning of 2016, I thought, and I watched him, I was watching The Daily Show with Jon Stewart.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
He was
And
hilarious. Or he's
I
hilarious.
had kind of like gone from pretty hardcore conservative and kind of swung more liberal. And I was just making fun of Trump, and then I saw the polls, and then I saw the turnouts like on the very early
Exit
like
polls.
Iowa voted,
Yeah.
and I was like, whoa, this is for real. I just thought he was going to be a joke. And so it's like, okay, maybe so
Some would
what
say
I
he
think
was.
the response of many should be is like, whoa, maybe my impression of him is off. Why are all these people following him? Instead of assuming shit like, oh, this is a bunch of racist motherfuckers. Look at these guys just following him. Whoa, the country's racist. Right? That it's like people just somehow, and so instead, it's like, okay, I'm doing a deep dive into this motherfucker's whole entire life. And I spent 9 months. There is not one single piece of writing about Donald Trump that I did not read, not one video that I did not watch. For 9 months, I got his whole life. I got exactly what his children think of him, his ex-wives thought of him and what they say about him, his butlers, his business partners, his countless business partners, and then all the shit that people were talking on him. I would deep dive research into it with an open mind. Okay. And I just found, wow, my mind. So this is when my eyes were truly opened on what's going on in the media. And then I just came to find, back to the golden rule. He's not perfect, but in businesses, he very frequently followed that, unless when he's dealing with somebody shady, he has his way of dealing with it. And it seems like he's off his rocker at times and says crazy shit. And it's always a play.
So,
The
so
way
let me.
even he treats his ex-wives, he still talks to them regularly. They support him. Okay, it's like the way he followed through with stuff. Yeah, he did some stupid shit in the
So,
past.
so let me hit you with this one because this
Okay,
one's interesting to me.
just an example. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love that you watched every season of The Apprentice.
All of it,
Um,
every single piece of
did you
information.
really?
And
No way.
I'm not kidding. And so every single thing. And then after, right before the election came, okay, so this was like almost a year later. You couldn't even Google search any of this stuff because Google had become such a cluster F of Donald Trump stuff. No longer could I find all the articles that I had read, all the writings, all the videos, just on and on and on, deep diving. You couldn't even do it, even if you wanted to.
So,
Uh,
for
yeah.
me, this whole, like, if we're getting into politics, this whole, like, why did people vote for him the first time? Why did people vote for him the second time? And I think the narrative you heard for some time, at least the first time around, was, oh, America's a bunch of racists and bigots and all this stuff, right? And maybe that narrative was repeated to some extent the second time around. Um, I did hear pieces of this other piece I'm going to mention here in a second, but to me it was, my immediate reaction was, people feel disenfranchised, and I think that's why people voted for him. So to me, it's like, why do people feel disenfranchised? Why would people, why are people sort of deviating for the norm? And there's a million reasons, I'm sure. But I took it more of a like the reaction I got out of it was people feel like they're not being heard.
Oh yeah,
People
because they're
feel like
censored. You can't disagree.
I think it's beyond censorship though.
Yeah,
I feel
it's
like
it's cancel culture. They tried. Look, people were contacting the insurance companies that I was representing and trying to get my business shut down.
And I'm sure there's a lot of that goes on too. But to me, I break it down to people were feeling what it boiled. We were talking about politicians in general, just being shady mother crackers, motherfuckers, whatever, right?
Right?
They are
Like
mother
intentionally,
truckers.
maliciously
Is the
lying.
word I was going for. But I feel like there's this tremendous disconnect between between politicians in general and their constituents. I feel like
Sure.
I feel like I think that's the problem. I think that's I'm at a stage in life, and I don't know if it's like if it's me like, oh, now I get it and I understand it. Maybe a little bit of what you were talking about, where it's like, hey, this hopeless feeling that does feel optimistic in many respects. But this hopeless feeling of they don't get it. They don't understand that they don't get it. Yes,
Sure.
inflation is it's going down. What is it, the CPI number? I think is
Yeah.
that's the right term, right? That's going down. Okay, sure, but have you tried buying a dozen eggs, like, or bacon or whatever
Right.
essential item? Like it's God, like it's just so fucking expensive to live. Like
Yep.
I don't understand. I don't know that people get that.
Which is a tax on the poor.
Bro, I just got an email a couple
Mhm.
weeks ago that my water rates are going up 14%
Yeah.
next year,
And
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 my
so
gas
then
and
they just try
electric
to
is
pass
going
this
up.
bill that will just way further drive up inflation, which is a tax to the poor unless you own a ton of assets that will appreciate over the dollar, such as Bitcoin or stocks like
Well,
Tesla is probably a good one.
and and talking about crypto, I mean, I in general, as the average hawk American here, average Joe Blow, I feel like crypto is one of those pieces that's not that and maybe I can't say that anymore like I could maybe even 5 years ago, maybe in a year or two ago, that's not been touched by the dirty elite to sort of manipulate it in such a way where I as an average person might be able to pick up a fraction of a Bitcoin or an Ethereum or insert name of token and
Mhm.
feel like, hey, you know what? Um, we equally all have its chance to maybe make it. Sure, you see things like this hawk to a token, take a dump and take a dive. But generally speaking, I mean, it's one of those things that maybe it gives you hope, right? That there is a change, and maybe it's a short-lived change, and like anything, when money is around, it corrupts, and and things may switch where maybe crypto is no longer that safe haven away from the elite structure that we all know and love today. But long story short, I think when you mention hopelessness and being not hopeful, to sort of tie it all together, crypto to some extent makes me hopeful, as and as an ism, right? As
Sarge, there are hundreds of thousands of tokens. There's over 1 million tokens that have been launched.
and I'm not
And I
saying every
can't even find one that I can fully believe in except Bitcoin and
I
maybe Ethereum.
I
Like
yeah, I have to say it's a space that to me
there's
has
some that
the
I'm hopeful on. I like some,
I
but
know you like
like
some.
it's like it wouldn't be that hard. Like we saw this with CZ come in out of nowhere, living on his couch, living on a couch of his friends, and like and he was just constantly bombarded with FUD against him, and we saw him just overtake the industry tenfold. Like he was doing 10x the volume that Coinbase, who was once the king, overthrew all of it. And he always, from what I saw, deep dive into his life, always did what was right. If like right now, if the trading volume goes out the roof and you're like, oh shit, something happens and you need to sell your Bitcoin on Coinbase, they'll shut down. That never happened with Binance, for example. If some weird thing happened, a hack or whatever, he would pay for it, make everybody whole. He had the best prices, the best conversion rates, everything. He's burned 94% of all Binance token. He's just awesome. Everything he does. And look, no wonder it was the number 3 token for a long, like it was even approaching Ethereum at one point. And so even after he gets attacked by almost every world government, he was getting attacked by like 20 world governments like at the same time at one point.
Yeah, I and maybe this
which
retracts,
made me like him even better.
Maybe this retracts what I was saying earlier to some extent, where I don't know, blanket statements. I think blanket statements are dangerous.
Yeah.
Like when I was saying all politicians are garbage, I don't know. I don't know all politicians.
No, there's a few that have impressed.
It's a very blanket statement. I think the system, maybe the system at large, is garbage. Like
I'll say almost all. That's why usually I say almost all.
But I think
because there are a few, but I don't trust any. I don't trust any of them. All politicians are garbage.
Maybe they are, SI. Maybe they are, but
here's what we long for. I don't know why they don't get this. They can't. They're so fake. All of them except Trump. That they put on their bullshit presidential statesman all the time. I used to be one of the delegates for Missouri. My dad was the president of the Missouri Republican Party, and I met all these, like I spent a lot of time with Josh Hawley and a lot of these guys, and it's like I liked Josh. I believed in him, and he's been pretty damn good. I think Josh is like one of the biggest stars out there. Like he certainly has stuck to everything I ever heard him talk about. He has continued, and he's someone that I don't think is just accrued a ton of wealth like a lot of these people are doing. But even him, it's like he can't help but putting on. I just want him to just be real, just be genuine. It's like, just be you, be a real person. If you make a mistake, talk about it. But they can't do that because they're afraid they get eaten alive if they just admit even making a mistake. Or like,
I don't know that we as people can elect real people. And this is in general, like,
well, I think that's why CEOs Trump won. I think Trump won because he's just himself and he's authentic.
I don't know that. There's a piece of me, and I think I think it's because I see him as an actor, because
actors, right?
He career in acting. I feel like there's a piece of me that believes that the person he's on TV or behind the podium is not who he really is. Just like I refuse to believe that Paris Hilton and Kim Kardashian talk like that all the time. Like I can't believe that. Like there's no way they speak like that all the time.
Yeah, anyhow, they're putting on a show on some level.
I feel like politicians are all, to some extent, actors. They're all putting on a show. And I think that doesn't exclude Trump or anyone. I feel like to some extent the person you see isn't always a person they are, and take that as how you will. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, they represent their constituents. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of documentary type stuff coming out with Trump. I've seen a lot of it. And it's literally like he's just behaving normal all the time. And then he goes up and speaks, and it's just like his same person. Now, of course, you're going to behave a little bit different when you're speaking in front of thousands and millions of people, but it's pretty authentic. Love him or hate him, it's as authentic as one could expect a person to be. Now, obviously, yeah, a lot of times it's a play. He's not meaning what he's saying. There's some other indirect thing he's doing. I see it, and then eventually you see it play out, and I've seen it happen over and over and over. So I was cautiously optimistic in 2016. He won. I couldn't believe it. Ice Cube's Chance in Hell. It was like literally a miracle that he won. I literally could not believe it.
I just sent you a DM on Discord, but as
Okay.
but continue.
Well, and then I thought if he does like 1/10 of what he says, that'll be like, I'll applaud him. And he did what he could do to follow through with everything he talked about doing, which is so outside of the norm. And I'm speaking from deep dive, like full-time job, 12 hours a day, as much as and there's a lot of Republicans, a lot of people on the right thought that Trump would be kind of a liberal. So at the very same election, the Missouri governor who won was a previous liberal who went Republican and was a fraud. And it wasn't long before he got kicked out. He didn't even make it the full. I don't even think he made it 2 years as a governor before he got, and I think he got even convicted of all the shit he was pulling in court, and went to jail, I'm pretty sure, and then came back out of jail and tried to run again for as a senator or something, and lost, I think. But I was worried that maybe Trump would rope-a-dope us like that, and not.
I love that size
he said, but instead he even went more conservative. When he was in my book, pretty liberal-ish, but running as a Republican. And that's what your Ted Cruz camp would say. That's what a lot of those people would say. He's a fake conservative. And I couldn't believe it.
You know what's really interesting to me, Grady? This whole idea of extreme right, extreme left, conservative, liberal. It's very interesting to me that you'll have a candidate choose one side far flung. It's like you gotta go all in one way or the other, and maybe that's how I perceive it. And there's no middle ground. When I am convinced that the world is, statistically speaking, the nation is made up more of that middle ground. Why can't we have a fucking middle ground politician? Is it because they're boring? Is it because they would never win because they're too boring? Or are we just too far flung one way or another and sort of at each other's throats because whatever, that it's gotta be all left or all right and and nothing in between? I don't
I think most people are now more middle
because it is a two-party system. You're right.
Except the extremes. Most people, most Republicans now, a lot has changed. So,
but we were talking about being real. Let's be real.
Common sense. Just have some common sense and be a real authentic person. Don't be a shady, corrupt mother effer. Common sense, well thought out, agendas.
But if we're being real, big picture, if we're being real, real is middle. No one's extreme one way or the other. No one, and I think one of the things I hate about politics is you said in 2005, you said this, and now you're saying the opposite. And it's like, with any politician, whether it's right or left, it's like, I don't want a politician who, is going to ride or die by what they said 20 years ago at a fancy dinner.
Or how about just on your campaign? We saw this on multiple. I used to have like a video of just all the things that Obama campaigned on, and then literally would flip when he became president, like literally saying the opposite on several different fronts. And that's common. That's most presidents in history. They'll campaign and say one thing and then literally do the opposite. Literally the opposite. And so, like, you can find so much on literally every president. Now, it's one thing to have a well thought out, articulated, okay, I got light on this and I was wrong. All these things I talked about on XYZ, and you can draw it out, because this has happened to me. I've like changed as a human being like 20 times. I'm like a different person,
But you
20
should.
times over. Right.
But
you should be. You should be.
For those of you who are just joining us, looks like Skiller and Koopo just joined. What's going on today is, I said, Grady, let's jump on a stream. Let's talk about anything. And boy, howdy, are we talking about anything? So I'm roping Grady back into the mix slowly but surely, and I think it's fun. I love talking about anything. I think we should, as people, be able to talk about anything. I think that's one of my pet peeves.
Sure.
Where, and I get it, right?
Freedom of speech.
It doesn't mean freedom of
not
consequences.
Being censored and canceled.
And I guess in polite company, I wouldn't do some of these things where I'm talking. I wouldn't talk. I wouldn't talk at the dinner table with the in-laws about politics. Maybe strange UFOs caught on camera. Maybe that religion. I don't know. But I think I think as people, we should be able to bullshit on things, and maybe we agree, maybe we disagree. My thing is, I listen. I listen. And even when I disagree on things, I'll listen, because I think we're all entitled to those opinions. And I learn more from listening to people who I may disagree with and those I agree with. Not to say that I disagree with everything you're saying there, Grady, but I think it's important to just have an open mind. I think that's what we've lost as a 100%. Society.
And don't have dogmatic opinions and views on things if you don't know what the hell you're saying. That's what I was going back earlier before. There's an epidemic in our planet today of people talking about shit they have no idea. They saw a video, or they watched the news of all things, and they took it as gospel without deep diving and doing the research. I put in the time and did the research. If I don't know, I talk about what I know. And if I don't know, like, for example, with UFOs, we spent the first half of the show talking about today.
God, Grady, like it is so
different theories. We don't act like we know, right? Grady, until we actually know.
You are a time warp, Grady. I love you. I love it. I forgot how much of a time warp you are. But it's great. I love being able to just sit around and bullshit on things.
I know. Right? I almost ended the video around 45 minutes in.
If you want to end it, good. But I wanna reel Grady back into the mix.
Oh yeah, I cannot any longer have politic discussions with anybody. I don't go there at zero.
You have to be able to, for me, my thought, you have to be able to have those discussions with people who are open to those discussions. Yeah. There are people who aren't open to that, and I respect that. But again, I'm mostly a listener, and I listen to people on all sides of the spectrum. On every side of the spectrum. I think it's important. I think it's fun.
I love this. Like, so just here's the best solution to everything we're saying is put your head in the sand. Don't pay attention to anything. Let yourself be psyoped so you can actually live a peaceful and happy life.
Grady, let's put on our tinfoil hats back on. Okay. I don't think we landed somewhere. So what do you think it is? These drone things over Jersey. What's your of the theories we talked through? What are you buying into?
So all the theories we talked through. Okay.
And there might be more we don't know about.
Yeah, there's a couple that I forgot about. I think that I heard So first of all, I talk on what I know. If I don't know, we go through some different possibilities, and which one do I think is the most likely? I just think it's a government psyop experiment type thing. And I also think there might be something going on from China. Like I know that China has some drones going.
That's a
And
fact. China does have drones. I can confirm that.
well, going out here.
Well, I
Some
don't
of
know
these
about
drones are from China.
that.
I'm
Interesting
pretty
theory.
sure about that. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. Just like I guess that whatever balloon thing was from China.
Yeah, that was fucking weird too.
Yeah.
Weird. How did that just go under the rug? And let's move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
That was weird.
So, and then maybe aliens are real, maybe not. I'm still very, very skeptical. So when people say there has to be aliens because there's trillions of stars, okay, out there with trillions of planets. First of all, I don't even know how much I buy that. So the way they talk about all the stars are like 500 billion light years away. There's this, galaxy. And it's like, wait a second, 500 billion light years. Think about that for like, they're saying they know that for sure. Like I watched the video. We laugh about it all the time with my kids. They sent some satellite that went out to Jupiter, and they came up with an amazing discovery. The amazing discovery is they discovered that the core of Jupiter, that is 19 times larger than Earth, the core of Jupiter is fuzzy. I'm going to pull up the video next week. We're going to show that just to make this point. And and then the satellite brought back this phenomenal discovery that the core of Jupiter is fuzzy. We don't even know 95% of Earth's oceans are yet undiscovered. We don't even know the core of planet Earth, but we know the core of Jupiter is fuzzy.
We know that.
We know, like, how the hell?
We know more about the stars, Grady, than we do about the ocean.
We have like 6,000 years of recorded history. So for all I know, the Earth could be 6,000 years old, or the Earth could be not 11.2 billion years old, 11.8 billion years old, not 11.2. It's 11.8 billion years old. Like we know this, like carbon dating is trustworthy. Like, okay.
I read it on Reddit.
1,000 years of recorded history. So we have these satellites that send out radars and frequencies, and we're able to see parts of the universe that are 500 billion light years away. Like we know this shit. Like we even have we don't know shit about, you don't know shit about shit. We know less than 0.0000001% of shit about jack shit. So they talk about it as if it's a fact. 4.2 billion years ago, we had this ice age, and then this happened. It's like,
all right, Grady. We're gonna reel you back in. Levi saying you're going off the deep end. To your question, the alien thing, right? I don't know. I feel like I think we're blanket statements, right?
Okay, blanket statement. Let's go.
Are aliens real? Maybe. Are aliens flying over New Jersey?
Right.
I don't think so. Not necessarily.
Maybe
you can have two things be true, right? You know, you can have aliens being real, and aliens might look different. They're not. Yeah, maybe it's bacteria, right? I don't know. Are they visiting Earth? Not likely. By the way, Levi, I'm disagreeing with Grady because it would be boring to sit around and say, "Hey, Grady, you're right. Let's move on to the next one." I promised Grady to disagree with him on most anything. For the sake of streaming argument. So there might be things in the time we've been streaming that I might.
So here's the thing. Okay, so this is where to
aliens.
Me, it takes more faith to believe that to be atheist than it than it does to believe in a creator. Okay. And I don't even know where I stand on this, but there is, statistically speaking, a 1 in infinity chance that a cell can form on its own. Okay. But this idea that there has to be aliens, it's naive. I hear this all the time. It's naive to think that we're the only ones here. Well, hang on a second. It's literally a 1 in infinity chance. It's statistically impossible that cells can form from whatever, the Big Bang and all this shit just somehow got here. How the hell did that happen? It's a 1 infinity chance. Okay. And then for that cell to then somehow mutate into a fish is also a 1 in infinity chance. It's literally impossible. It's 1 in Google's a factors of 0% chance of that happening. And then for a fish to somehow grow lungs and morph into a lizard and crawl out is literally a statistically 1 in infinity chance. To even be able to reproduce the way we do, to have 25 million nerve endings in our eyeball. Okay. And the way this, it's like there has to be a creator. I don't know.
Let me reel Grady in. You're evading the question, Grady. What's flying over New Jersey?
It's probably fucking aliens, motherfucker.
It's fucking aliens. I love it.
It's aliens. Now there's a lot of video. There's a lot of evidence. There's a lot of crazy shit that aliens probably are dwelling among us, either in Antarctica or under the ocean. Okay. There's a lot of crazy shit that is impossible that we have on video, all kinds of shit. We've got UFOs, orbs, UFOs flying into the ocean and splashing. We see the splash. Like we saw a couple weeks ago, 40 of them go into the ocean, and somebody from the military said they saw it. And another government agent, an agent of the government, said he saw it.
All right, Grady, for Kupo who's watching, can you
so
put up
aliens?
Can you put up my image on the screen? My guide, my New Jersey guide to aircraft identification. Kupo, I just want you to take a screenshot of this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important for you to be able to identify these drones when you see them.
This is how we identify drones, right here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Grady's definitely he's getting put on a list after today's stream. What list that is, I don't know yet.
Hey,
I don't know yet.
I'm on so many lists, you have no idea.
So my theory, let me give you my theory.
Sarge, I should not be alive. I should be dead 10 times over. You don't even want to get me started, baby.
That sounds like a whole nother stream. We'll get
That's
that
a whole nother
other time.
I won't ever go there.
Let me give you my theory. The theory I sort of land on, and it's maybe the most boring of the theories. It's inconceivable. It's the most boring of the theories. I think we're testing drone technology, and I think that's how we know it's not dangerous. And we don't want to tell people we're testing drone technology because, we're on a need-to-know basis. And it's boring, but you know what, Grady? Life sometimes, God damn it, it can be boring. I hate to be boring. Now, says the guy who recorded a very interesting video in June. That's something else. Maybe that was aliens. But the stuff in Jersey.
What the hell is this? Sergeant himself saw this with his own eyeballs. He's talking to his mom. He took this video. He said that thing is approximately, give or take, 50 feet in the air. He said it looked kind of like a basketball. It was very close to him. Real video. A motherfucker that I actually know actually got one of these things on camera, baby. You could be on the TV show Paranormal Caught on Camera, right there.
I love that show. My wife hates that show with a passion.
Because most of it's bullshit.
Most of it is bullshit, but sometimes I like bullshit,
Like the one with the bike. The bike is just nobody's riding it, and it just goes flying across. The video, it was sitting on top of a car. You just didn't see that part.
If you've not watched that show, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking for a good time. Maybe you need to consume something before or during. It's garbage television at its best.
So, I was a preacher for like 15, 20 years. And then
Unbelievable, Grady.
I totally went like atheist hardcore.
Yeah.
But I
yeah.
was like, still couldn't actually be an atheist. So like more agnostic, half-brained atheist, half-brain pissed off at Jesus. Okay. And then I ended up, and there was an ice cube's chance in hell that I would ever come back to Jesus. And it happened because I should be dead 10 times over. And it is just crazy stories that you would never believe if I tried to tell you, and spent hours trying to tell you. You'd never believe it in a million years. And so, and then now it's like back to Jesus rug pulling everybody's ass these days. It's like the ultimate rug pull is Jesus. That's just my experience. And I don't even know what the hell to think. I'm a freaking head case.
Skinwalker Ranch. Oh my god, that is another great show that my wife at one point hated.
Oh man,
but then she was in it.
Bastards, and
I want to go. I've always wanted to go. Skiller might be right. I might be the psyops. Maybe I'm the guy who's psyoping everyone. Don't trust anyone. My goodness. Boy, dude, this is really fun, man.
Dude, we got it. So we're gonna do this every week.
We're gonna do this as often as we can, and right? It's gonna be fun.
Kong, we got to figure out how to get Kong. Kong, sleeps. He's like dead asleep right now. So, and people like Doug Hype, anybody, we can get more people on, but we want to do this more often. And then eventually we're going to be doing this every day together, Sarge.
Every day, all day.
Speaking it into existence right now. We're going to do this every day. We're going to be Joe Rogan combined with Alex Jones up in this bitch.
I don't know what the weaker, shorter, chubbier Mexican version of Joe Rogan is, but whatever that is, it's me, and I love it.
That's right, baby.
No, this is really fun, man. It's nice seeing you back on the camera, being able to chat with you, and just like I said, just bullshitting about anything and everything. And I would love to see different people come on with you to talk about different things. You've got that road joking. You got that Joe Rogan fuel for you. One of the things I learned today, Grady, of you, is that you're on the spectrum with the most everything. What I heard from you is, I used to be conservative and I swung.
Yep.
The other way, and I was a liberal,
baby.
and then conservative again. And I used to love, religion and Jesus, and I went atheist, and and I love crypto, and I don't know about crypto. I love that about
all or nothing.
I love that about you, Grady. I love that. I don't know. Joe Rogan fuel cocaine, is that a fact? I don't know. I thought he was into pot and other stuff. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't think he's cocaine. Pot is a yes, maybe for Joe.
I think I've seen him smoke pot, maybe on stream. Yeah, I think.
Yep, and he's talked about it. So
shrooms. I think I've seen him.
Two other things I wanted to say and totally forgot. Oh, you're dyslexic, just like me.
I am.
Road Rogan. You just said that's something I would do.
Listen, Grady. There's this funny picture I had sent Sticks intern at one point. I got a Twitter targeted ad in Spanish encouraging me, Grady, if I clicked on that ad, I too could learn to master the English language and learn how to speak English, and it was in Spanish. So I just thought it was hilarious. English is my second language. I think I've mastered it well enough to be able to carry a conversation successfully.
Even know that.
Oh yeah,
no. Crazy.
It's wild.
That's crazy.
It's so fun. There's a lot there too to unpack, I suppose. Oh man, it's so fun. I've got lots of great stories too. Like SI, I gotta tell you about the time I was on a train in the Watts Willowbrook area, and it was interesting. I was I was wearing a red shirt and a red tie, and I to this day I don't know if I was wearing the right or wrong colors, but it was a very interesting. It was a very interesting experience. We'll leave it at that. Anyhow, I don't know anything you want. Anything you want to chat about before I call it?
The last plug, even though I don't even know if I believe in Jesus or not,
Binge Jesus.
I think the Chosen TV show, The Chosen, will eventually be the #1 show of all time, like the most watched show of all time. You can watch it for free. You can now watch it on Netflix, and
so call me.
It's better if you know the Bible. You got to kind of.
So call me ignorant. What is The Chosen?
The Chosen is like, it's a TV show that first started as like, it was crowdfunded, and this guy, Dallas Jenkins, his dad was an author of like end times stuff, and he came out with this TV show, and it's like a Jesus show, but you don't even have to believe in Jesus. It does get kind of cheesy sometimes, but
television
for the most part,
cheesy.
It's a really good, but compared to most cheesy Christian shows or movies, it's like way the best by far.
Whether you believe in Jesus or not, what better time to talk about Jesus than a few days
before you get a lot of like backstory that's not in scripture, so they're just kind of like theorizing what happened, and it's just great how it all comes. It's just a well done show, and I just watched season 4, and I've never cried so much in my life. I just watched it for like the 5th time.
Where can we watch this show?
You can download the app for free, The Chosen. Just search it in your app store. And then if you've got like a Roku or an Amazon Fire Stick or a smart TV, you can then just right from your app, just connect it to the TV and it plays, and you still have your phone. And it just works awesome. So that part of it works. So the show is just so well done. And some of it gets kind of slow and boring a little bit, but if you kind of get through, man, the first season ends dynamite. 2nd season's awesome. 3rd season, not as good. 4th season. And so it gives you like this perspective of why it does such a good job of showing why the disciples of Jesus were such dumbasses in scripture when Jesus was there.
I'm going to take notes. That sounds like a good dinner conversation. Hey, Mom, did you know? Dumbasses.
Everybody kind of knows that. They're a bunch of like bumbling idiots. His 12 disciples.
God, now that sounds I guess I should read more Bible and watch this
so
show.
When you read it, like, it's just kind of like, come on. Why were they such idiots? And then you get a little bit better. Like, the show does a good job of, first of all, if Jesus is real, he would be like this. It just shows the right flavor of what Jesus would be like. Okay. And then second of all, just the way they bring in just kind of like the reality of it just hits you hard to the point to where, in the show, there's like tragedy that happens in their lives, in the disciples' lives. And Jesus didn't necessarily just go heal a guy's fiance that might have died and raise her from the dead, but then he raises somebody else from the dead. And so then they're like, their lives have been devastated and they're following him. And it just gives you a lot better picture of how that might have played out.
And maybe that's my lesson for the day. Here's my lesson for the day. The key, the hope in humanity, the key for hope in humanity is the suspension of disbelief. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the ride, man.
The Chosen gives me a glimmer of hope there.
There's a glimmer of hope. There's a glimmer of hope everywhere. I think even in bad, there's hope. You gotta. I don't know. For me, I gotta think about it that way. Otherwise, things seem a bit too bleak. And on that note, great. I'm gonna have to bounce here. This is great. This has been great.
Hey, guys, next Friday, we're gonna be talking more UFOs. If I'm in town, I might be in Kansas City, but I might still be around.
More UFOs.
We're going to be talking more UFOs, more hopelessness of humanity, more corruption in government, more bullshit. We'll be back at it, baby.
And I'm sure we'll all collectively find out where, what things Grady has swung on. In the past. We'll find out. By the way, SI, just for your knowledge, the thing I found out on that epic subway or trolley, I don't know what they call it. I forget what it's called. Down here in San Diego, we call it the trolley. I forget what it's called. The blue line, what I remember. That epic day, South Central. I was, someone said I had a pretty face. Now, I don't know what that meant, but it sounded dangerous.
Sarge, you are one hot man.
Well, this guy did. I don't know, man. This guy, I don't think that was a compliment, Grady. I think I was a minute away from, and I don't know. Anyhow, Grady, this has been fun. I appreciate it.
Love you guys. Sergeant, the man who is filthy and nasty, and Crypto Grady out.
Out.
Last word.
Love you, man.
We're done. Love you. Love you guys.